Do you really think Hollywood is all glamour, bright lights, red carpets, and perfect smiles? Think again, and think slowly, because behind every hit film, there are shadows, and behind those shadows, there are people who will do anything to keep secrets from becoming headlines. What you're about to hear is a high-profile Hollywood dispute tied to the 2024 film It Ends With Us, a story that escalated from behind-the-scenes tension into legal warfare. And I need you to stay with me until the end, because this isn't just about a movie. It's about reputation, power, and a public battle where every message, every statement, and every document can feel like a weapon. This is the raw account, allegedly, of Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, and how a professional partnership reportedly turned into one of the most talked about entertainment legal fights in years. It all appeared to begin perfectly in 2024 with the release of It Ends With Us, an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. Blake Lively, widely known for Gossip Girl, played Lily Bloom, a woman trying to break free from an abusive, toxic relationship. Justin Baldoni, known for Jane the Virgin, was not only cast as Ryle Kincaid, he also directed the film. On paper, it looked like the kind of partnership studios love: a major star, a director-actor, a big book adaptation, huge expectations. But the most important part of this story is what's not on paper, because behind the cameras, away from the spotlight, the relationship between the two leads was reportedly shifting, quietly, gradually, and according to the allegations, in a direction that felt poisonous. Blake Lively has alleged that the on-set environment became hostile, that boundaries were crossed, and that what should have stayed professional didn't. And if that's true, then the inspiring project the public watched on screen was, behind the scenes, something very different, something darker. Then comes December 2024. After months of tension, Blake Lively reportedly broke her silence and filed a formal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, alleging sexual harassment and a hostile work environment tied to the production. And the reported details were serious. Not Hollywood drama, not creative disagreements, but accusations involving inappropriate conduct and workplace conditions that, according to her, went far beyond discomfort. But the allegations didn't stop at what happened on set. Lively also alleged that Baldoni and his side orchestrated a retaliatory PR effort, a smear campaign, to damage her public image once she raised concerns. Justin Baldoni denied wrongdoing, and according to reporting, his side argued that he addressed concerns promptly and that he had the right to defend his reputation. At that point, the story had crossed a line. It wasn't gossip anymore. It was a legal battle with real consequences. Then, in January 2025, the conflict reportedly escalated again. Justin Baldoni counterattacked, filing a countersuit seeking $400 million, accusing Blake Lively, along with Ryan Reynolds and others, of claims like defamation and related allegations, framing it as an abuse of power and influence. And that number, $400 million, matters, because it signals something beyond defending yourself. It signals total war. According to coverage of the filings, Baldoni also took aim at media coverage around the dispute, including legal action tied to reporting about the allegations. And now, both sides weren't just fighting in private. They were fighting in public, through lawyers, motions, statements, and headlines. A dispute that began in a film production environment had become a narrative battle. And in Hollywood, controlling the narrative can be worth more than money. Then we arrive at what reignited the fire, January 2026. Court filings and newly unsealed materials reportedly brought fresh attention, including private communications that offered a window into how stressful and personal this conflict had become. Reporting around the newly revealed texts focused on how the legal battle and the pressure surrounding it spilled into personal relationships and public perception. And once private messages become public, it doesn't matter how strong your public image is, because the public starts reading between every line, every tone, every phrase, every pause. At the same time, other statements and testimony reported in the coverage added to the picture of rising tension around the production and the aftermath. And with each new document, the story felt less like a single accusation and more like a collision of egos, power, fear, and survival. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. Because in 2025, the story didn't just stay in the court of public opinion, it hit a major legal turning point. Baldoni's massive $400 million countersuit, one of the biggest counterattacks in modern Hollywood legal drama, was dismissed earlier in the process, and later a final judgment was entered, meaning that specific path of attack, the one that was meant to flip the pressure back onto Lively, did not move forward the way it was originally filed. And that matters because a dismissal like that doesn't just remove a claim, it changes leverage, it changes momentum, it changes what each side can realistically threaten and what they can actually prove. But here's the part people keep missing. That didn't end the case, because the core lawsuit filed by Lively continued, and it kept moving, quietly, strategically, step by step. So even though one major front collapsed, the main war stayed alive. In other words, one battle was shut down, but the larger conflict never stopped. And in cases like this, that's often where the real pressure begins, when the headlines slow down. But the legal machine keeps grinding forward in the background. Now we're at today, January 22nd, 2026, and multiple outlets reported that the judge is set to hear oral arguments today on Baldoni's request for summary judgment and dismissal-related motions, which is essentially an attempt to end the case early, or at least cut it down before it ever reaches a full trial. Because summary judgment isn't just a procedural step, it's a high-stakes moment where one side is saying, "Judge, there's not even enough here to keep going," and the other side, of course, is saying the opposite. "This deserves to be heard, this deserves to be examined, and this deserves accountability." It's a moment where the case can narrow, collapse, or sharpen into something even more dangerous, depending on what the judge decides. And the trial, already pushed back after delays and procedural battles, is now scheduled to begin on May 18th, 2026, in New York. So right now, this story is not over, not even close. It's in motion. It's unfolding in real time, and every single step forward, every filing, every argument, every ruling can trigger another wave of headlines, another shift in public perception, and another round of people choosing sides. Because this isn't just a courtroom fight, it's a reputational knife edge. Blake Lively alleges she's exposing behavior and retaliation that should never be normalized, the kind of behind-the-scenes dynamics that get brushed off as just the industry. Justin Baldoni is fighting to clear his name, protect his reputation, and defend his career. Because in Hollywood, even an allegation can be its own kind of sentence. And once that public story hardens, it can become almost impossible to undo. And in the middle of it all is a film that, despite the controversy, reportedly became a major box office success, which raises the question no one likes asking. If a movie makes millions, what was the human cost behind the cameras? What was happening off screen while the audience was watching the story on screen? And who ends up paying that cost? The powerful names at the top, or the people who can't afford to fight back? Because sometimes the biggest price isn't money, it's fear, it's silence, it's damage that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet, but follows people long after the set is gone. When the credits roll and the lights come back on, who walks away untouched? And who walks away changed? So now I want to hear from you. Based on everything you've seen so far, who do you believe? Who is controlling the narrative? And who is trapped inside it? If you want more stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And comment your theory below. Who's lying in the shadows? And who deserves justice? Until the next one, stay alert, because Hollywood never truly sleeps.